everybody. Welcome to a Friday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. I'm sitting up here with the comedians known as Talent and Fig. As I always say, these comedians have been in the game for a while. They've been in comedy films, film festivals, TV shows, everything related to comedy, even comedy commercials and radio shows. But you know what? Now they're in a comedy sports talk show that we call the Box Seats. And as you can see, these guys are, raring, ready to go. Guys, how you guys doing today?
Oh, fantastic, man. Fantastic. Fig, how you living?
It's always with me, man. I'm fair to middling.
All right, let's get the show started, man. Usually I always start off with the COVID report. And today's COVID report comes from Major League Baseball. If you guys haven't heard yet, the Houston Astros tonight are without 8 pitchers due to the protocol. Their GM is not saying whether or not any team members have caught, COVID-19 or not. He does not want to put out that information, but he did say they are willing to say that they're going to be out without 8 pitchers. So there's that. The other big news I want to jump into, because, we got a lot to talk about today, is the NFL has made it official for the first time. Listen, sports and overall is doing some big things this year. The NFL hired the first Black woman as an NFL official. Her name is Mia Shaka. Talent, are you really happy to hear that news for Black women in this for women overall, that now the NFL has a Black woman official?
I mean, it's only right. You got a white one, you got to get a Black one. It's like the Dalmatian of officials. You got to mix it up to be fair and equal. I'm proud, though. I mean, as a Black man, you got to be proud because it's been so long without a woman, period, right? And then you finally get to, I think we watched the Super Bowl, we were all proud, the first woman officiating the big game. So now, hopefully this opened doors, because, there's a lot of sisters are into sports,
right?
And they know their stuff, and they keep proving us wrong and keep going above and beyond. I hope this is the beginning of a nice, lucrative situation for the sisters.
I hope so, too. Fig, what's your thought?
Yeah.
I'd like to just go out on the limb and say Mia Shaka, too. Yeah, I'm Shaka. That they picked Mia Shaka. No, man, I piggyback off of what Talent said, man. I mean, it was long overdue. Women are into sports, clearly. Black women are into sports, and you have to do this for a long time and to get your shot at the big dance. And finally she's got her opportunity, and that's great. I know she's going to shine, because in order for her to get the opportunity, like we all know, you got to be heads and tails above the rest. So it well overdue.
Yeah, you really do. Let me throw this out there too. There was another story that I saw 2 days ago. I want to talk about this because this was a huge story. I mean, huge. And I don't think it got a lot of traction anywhere because I didn't really see it anywhere. If you're not familiar, there's a website, media, mobile app thing. It's called Overtime. Overtime is moving forward. They're launching a new league for high school teens that are in basketball that are aged between 16 to 18. And here's the thing. I'm going to read the statistics of what's going on right now. They are launching this new league for players between the ages of 16 to 18. They're going to give them $100,000 salary, health benefits, equity stake, and everything. All of these players and everything else, all for these players, if they're trying to pursue to get into the NBA, and even for some of the players who are not trying to pursue, to get into the NBA, or if they're not sure, if NBA talent is not sure they're going to make it to the NBA. But the biggest thing is that they're between the ages of 16 and 18. And if an athlete decides to not pursue a basketball career professionally, Overtime will cover his college tuition up to $100,000. Carmelo Anthony is an investor. Kevin Durant is an investor. And the late David Stern is an investor on this league. Now, before I throw out some of my thoughts, I'm going to throw it to Talent and say, do you think that this is going to change the schematics the way we see the NCAA? Because we all know the NCAA does not pay players at all. They and everything. But this could literally change the entire scope. My thought. What's your thought?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this is it's like playing poker. You know what I mean? And you're forcing a hand. So if this thing takes off, you are now become a threat, actually, to the NCAA, because a kid coming to high school is looking like, do I go play for free or do I go, especially, like I said, if this thing takes off and becomes that bona fide thing, it's like, do I go play over here for free NCAA? They're not really guaranteeing or taking care of me. Or do I go for some pay to play?
Right.
You know what I mean? Do I pick pay to play? I think it's forcing a hand to people because that's been an argument, Frank. Let's face it, for God knows how many decades, is why these kids bust their ass and go above and beyond, and there's no compensation. You know, everything's illegal. It's illegal to give your mom a house. It's illegal to put clothes on your back, to give you food, give you a vehicle. All these things are illegal and against the rules. And with this right here, this is adding incentive to that ass. I don't know. I think it's going to up the ante around the board.
I agree with that. Fig, check this out. It's been because Overtime put out some statistics yesterday saying that the average player who plays in high school in 1 year in college basketball logs in 20,000 hours of playing basketball for free. What's your thoughts when you hear this news right here?
It's like Tony said, it's well overdue, and I'd like to add something to that. You know, we get these great players that come over here from the European leagues, and we're hearing stories like, oh, he's been playing professional basketball since he was 14. He's been playing 15, 16. These European players play professional basketball when they're in their very early teens, if they have the talent. And then when they come over here, one that comes to mind is Luka Doncic. He's come over here and he's made a big splash because he's played professional basketball since his early teens. And it's not that these guys don't have the talent to play on the next level. It's just that they're not given the opportunity. And that title, student athlete, has been thrown around for far too long. And we know these universities are raking in millions and millions of dollars on the back of these young kids. And some of them will never see an NBA court. And it's time.
All right, let me ask you this on the same subject, Tal. Let me ask you this. Do you think it's going to change the trajectory of some players who might go from playing a couple of years from high school to this league, to the NBA? And then you think it's going to force the NCAA to sit there and say, we need to change the entire map because we're going to miss out on all the top level? Because to me, this is what it does. It makes all the top level players now go to the overtime league, and the second level players go to the NCAA. And we know they don't want that to happen because, listen, you got the NCAA tournament where you see the best players, supposedly, right?
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I say when I say it ups the ante, it's like you got to get off the pot of piss. You know what I mean? You hear that expression all the time, and that's what it means. When somebody comes, it ain't no different than anything else. This is America, capitalism at its finest. You come up with one thing, I come up with the other thing to compete with your one thing. Now you either stand by your product because it's as good as it gets, or you do some tweaking. You ever see the movie Something About Mary? One of the funniest parts is when he picks up the hitchhiker and he's like, I want to let you in on this $1 billion idea that nobody's doing. And he was like, you heard of 8-minute abs? He was like, yeah. He was like, yo, 7-minute abs. So, and Ben Stiller's character, just being funny, being an asshole, goes, yeah, you on to something unless somebody come up with 6-minute abs. He was like, you can't get no workout in 6. But that's what it does. It ups the ante of whatever that other thing is. That other thing being the NCAA. So these guys coming with this incentive, and you got to be sitting there scratching your head like, we got to do something. Because we're gonna, like you said, we're going to lose the A player and be a conference filled with B players. And guess what's going to happen after that, Frank? The TV contracts are going to follow the A players.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. That's
the money.
Yeah,
and you can't do that workout in 6 minutes?
Yeah, at the end of the day, bro, it's all about the money. But I never heard you use a movie analogy before, Talent. So that's a good one.
It brought me to that point of competition. That's a perfect analogy. The dude thought first of all, you stole your idea from 8-minute abs, right? You come up with 7. All you did is take a minute off. So he goes, well, let somebody come with 6. Now it's unfathomable. Like, no.
So, Fig, let me ask you this, man. Being that David Stern was one of the founders of this league before he passed away, does it tell you, like it tells me, that maybe the NBA is trying to put a foothold in this and try to mess up that whole thing so they can get first right to refusal before the NCAA gets to dip hands on that? You know what I mean? What you think, Fig?
Hey, man, first off, I'm shocked and flabbergasted at the fact that Talent watched Something About Mary. I ain't know. I didn't know that. I didn't know he watched that movie. I didn't know.
It was one of my top fives, Nick. It's one of my top.
Mine too, to be honest. Quiet as kept.
That's hilarious, man. Now I got to go watch Something About Mary. It's ridiculous. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I'm out of the loop. Here's the thing. Here's what it brings to mind. The fact that David Stern was a part of it meant that the business and these A-list players put their money on the line to back this new league means that it has a solid foundation and it has a direct road or link to the NBA itself. Because had it not, I don't think they would have been involved. Tell you something else that I always thought about that I never really mentioned is the fact that at 17, 18 years old, you could go into the military and put your life on the line. You could go to war for your country, but you can't make money playing basketball. There's something fundamentally wrong about that whole premise, and it just don't work, man. I mean, it's time, and I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on the NCAA to finally put something in place where they start playing these players.
Yeah, but the key point is, you made an actually great point, but the key point is I don't think that well, not even say I don't think. I think the NBA, especially with David Stern, I think he had like a real, before he passed away, I think either A, he could see the future, or B, he saw the seismic change and he's like, listen, why do we got to give so much power to the NCAA? Because you remember the days years ago that you had to play 4 years in college before you went to the NBA. Then it went down to a year. Then some players were skipping from high school going to the NBA. They didn't like that system. Then they said, okay, you got to have at least 1 year play in the NCAA college basketball. And then recently, within the last 4 or 5 years, they said, okay, unless you're good enough, you can go straight from high school to that. But if you go to you remember that? I mean, am I mistaken?
Yeah, here's the thing, though, Frank. Now, here we go. You know how we always talk about in the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s and stuff like that, prior to this new era of basketball, we always talk about it was a man's game. It was a rougher league. So the quality of player coming out of high school to be able to play with these grown men and take that punishment was few and far between. I mean, there were a few, the Kevin Garnett's, the Kobe's and stuff. There were a few, was it Darryl Dawkins, I believe, that came in. There was a few who were ready out of high school, but then there was a great many who were not. Now, with a lot of the aggressive defense taken out of the NBA, some of these players out of high school are ready because they have the skills. You know what I mean? They may not have the physical man strength, but they do have the skills, the ball handling, the shooting, a mind for the game. So they're ready to go from high school into the NBA. And I think this is a nice road for them to be able to do that.
I think what you said could be considered wrong, and I'm gonna say why. Tell you why. I mean, I agree with it. No, I agree with it. No, let me say that. Let me just say this. I agree with it, but I think at the premise, the beginning of that, yes, everybody thought that. But what happened was the NBA then created a G League. You know what I'm saying? They created a G League because so many players were coming up, and they realized these players are coming up faster. And once they got to the NBA, we're not as good as we evaluated them. So now we have to create another league because we don't want to release them and we don't want to let go of their rights. So what they then did was create a G League and put all these players in this G League. I think this right here, this overtime thing, supersedes NCAA, gives the NBA more power. Now, tell me if you think I'm right or wrong, but I think it supersedes that and tries to bridge the gap from high school to the NBA G League and try to, gap out the NCAA. That's what
I don't agree with the G League part, but I agree with everything else you said. I think the G League is just a revamped CBA. So it's like other sports where you keep that developmental thing going because this person might not be good right now in 2021. He may work on his skills and be the man in 2023. So that's why you keep that like they always did with the CBA. But I think you're on to something. I think David Stern, seen around the curve, you got to get ahead of the curve sometime. And you're looking at where you're getting your players from. You're looking at that thing and you say, okay, everyone's bitching and moaning about these players. It's not fair. They're not getting paid, blah, blah, blah. And you say, you know what? What if I was to step in, create something where I am paying these players? Will I draw in these A-listers, which you will, because Everyone is bitching about the same thing. It's no different than what Farrakhan did with the Nation of Islam. He said, why am I buying food? If I'm trying to feed my little Nation of Islam, this is my own nation, I'm gonna buy the farmland. And I'm gonna cut out the middleman and buy the farmland and make the food myself and bring it up, you know what I mean, and farm it. This is what David Stern, I think, seen around the curve. He said, why am I keep waiting on the NCAA, who's now controversial? Every year it goes to bat, pay these kids. This is wrong, that's wrong. We can't bring them in until 1 year, like you said, right from high school. They kept changing that rule, so that lets you know it's something there to what you're saying. It's some validity to him seeing ahead of the curve and putting this thing together. I just think it's dope that even with his passing, it's still coming into fruition.
Right. Fig, I'm going to throw it to you, and I'm going to even add this caveat to you. Notice how it's launching in the year of COVID when a lot of people lost their jobs and families need to make money. You know what I mean? Notice that. I don't want that to be even overlooked either, because as we all know, you know, in some of these households, that child who might have a chance to make it to the NBA is going to be the breadwinner of that family. You know what I'm saying?
It's like the perfect storm, Frank. I mean, it's perfect timing for them to launch something like this, especially on the back of like Ice Cube doing the Big Three and stuff like that. You see that it's, you know, another league would be formidable and it would make some money. The thing about it is that the funny thing is that you could develop high school players at a younger age. I mean, high school, you know, program is not there to develop players into being stars. So if you create a league that could develop their skill set, then maybe they'll be ready earlier. Because like, you know, you say you draft these players and you put them down in the G League, and then, like Talon said, in 2 to 3 years, then they're ready. But just think about it. Now, these high school players are doing a one and done, and then they're going into the league, and then they're not really ready. They're sitting. Then he got to go down to the G League and stuff like that. Really, what we're saying is that it takes about 3 to 4 years for these guys, for most of them, to be ready to play on the NBA level. Whether you're in college, whether you're in the G League or whatever, it takes a few of these guys, and there are a few exceptions. Like I said before, the Kobe's, the Kevin Garnett, there are a few great players who are ready to come straight out of high school and just take it to the next level. But the vast majority of them are not ready. And while you're getting ready, you can make some money while you're preparing yourself to go to the big dance. And
that's a good thing.
The NCAA, I would say this, the NCAA is in trouble because they're going to have to give up some of that money.
Yeah, that's number one. And number two, they can ready to lose the top tier players overall. And to make your point solid, Michael Jordan was a great player at North Carolina, but he became a phenomenal player 1 year out as he developed more and more in Chicago Bulls. I mean, you know what I mean? He wouldn't have been the same player if he went straight from high school. You know, we would have seen him. That's not true. We would have seen him turn into a great player, but we'd have seen him go phenomenally, you know, with the phenomenal league. But let's move on, man, because I want to get to the NBA All-Star game in a second. But I want to just mention this real fast. I don't know if you all saw the news, but there was a fan who was a woman. She went to Zach LaVine's house last night, and she would not leave. The police had to be called. She is a fan, a woman, and she did everything that you can name at his house. Everything. It got to be really scary, and the police had to be called.
Huh? Is she hot? Is she hot?
I didn't see it. You
didn't see a picture?
I
can't comment on this.
But Tal, I gotta throw it to you though. You gotta say something. Like the fan goes to Zach LaVine's house. How scary is that, man? If fans are trotting across the line.
Well, I'm sure it's very scary. You know, we've all been there in some form of fashion, whether it's your house, your hotel room, or down at your car, or somewhere private that you're not expecting it. Man, well, all I can say, Frank, to be honest with you, the NBA is fantastic.
Okay, all right. He said NBA is fantastic. Fig, what you think?
It is. The NBA is fantastic. You know, the funny thing is that this is not unusual. You know what I mean? It's been happening to actors for a long time. You know, crazed fans breaking into the house, whether they haven't, you know, if they have a fence, these fans are climbing over the fence. If you go out of town and you somewhere, sometimes they break into your house and they be in your house living there and staying in your house while you're gone. And Yeah, I mean, fans do all kind of crazy things, man. It just is what it is, man. I mean, you hear stories about some of these women that show up at the hotel because they know the NBA players are going to be staying at this particular hotel. It is a crazy thing, man, and it's a little scary too because you really never know. I mean, if somebody has a mindset to do that, you never know what it is that they might want to do to you.
That you walk.
I'll be honest with you. I've never been afraid of it because I got 5 pit bulls. So when people come to my house, it's actually amusing. Like real talk, a week ago when the snow came, the UPS guy was delivering a package, and my dog was in the yard. And this dog don't even. He's a friendly dog, but for whatever reason, he felt like barking at the. This guy fell on the ice. He slipped and busted his ass. And all he heard me yell from my stoop, I was like, he don't bite. And the guy gets up, he's brushing the ice. So he said, he don't bite? I said, no. He's like, oh, okay. And just finished delivering the package. It made my day. But I say all that to say, I guess your situation, here's the thing. Let's be real. Depending on your situation, how scary it can be. If you are, I think the more isolated your home is, the scarier it is. The more community you have, the less scary it is. Like if I live in a community with a bunch of close houses or buildings or whatever, then it's just like you deal with it like a person, like, what's up? You know, what do you want? Yo, you gotta leave, whatever, you call the cops. Whatever. But if you isolated, like Chappelle's joint in Ohio, and they have found their way down the ranch, and you get home and they're out there sitting on one of your cows.
Yeah.
Like, you're late. Say something like they knew you for years. You're late. You'd be like, yo.
You know, what's really scary about is like all these movies. The movies where the woman goes kind of crazy and she's after the guy. You know, what is it? Fatal Attraction, where she got your pet in a pot of water with your greens and carrying on. You like, yo, what's up with this? And yo, man, look. Ordinarily, a guy would be like, yo, I'm not afraid of a woman, you know, coming to my house or whatever and stuff like that, man. But women do crazy things too.
Yeah, let's
not just men. It's not just men that lose it.
Let's move on. Let's talk about the NBA All-Star selection real fast because we got a lot of things to get into. The NBA All-Star selection happened last night. The Team LeBron, Team Durant, they both picked their starting 5. I don't know if you all heard them yet, but LeBron is playing with Giannis, Steph Curry, Luka, Jokic. That's his starting 5. And Durant's starting 5 is Bradley Beal, Joel Embiid, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi, and Jason Tatum. Now I'm gonna say this, Talent. I'm gonna throw it to you real fast. I don't see how Durant's team is gonna beat LeBron, but all of a sudden I got excited when I saw the team picks this morning. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a dope game because LeBron.
Are you serious? You really? I took Team KD out the gate.
Oh yeah, well, only because LeBron is playing with Giannis. I want to see LeBron playing with Giannis. I want to see how that'll turn out.
They're Giannis is not a winner yet. KD team is built with winners.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When you look at play by play, championship. The only one is Tatum, the only one without a chip. And Embiid, like over there, you got a couple joints, but Giannis is as good as he is, as big as he is, playing with LeBron. I don't think he's gonna give you that chance. He's gonna give you some highlights. So they all gonna give you some highlights. But I went with KD off the rip. Like that team off the rip is much more of an agile team. You know, you can see that they went to beat them with speed and quickness over size.
I'll throw this to you, Fig. I can see what he's saying, but it's definitely debatable. And I now am excited to see this game because now I was like, you know what?
Wait a minute. Ain't you the one that said don't play the game?
Yeah, I was.
Now you're excited.
Yeah, I'm excited because I saw this team. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like hooking your boy up with a girl. I don't want her fat heifer. Don't try to hook me up with 2:00 in the morning. Yo, where'd she go? Where's the girl you was hooking me up with? What? She went home.
All right, Tally got that one. You got that one. Got that one, dog. What you think, Fig?
I mean, listen, I like the thing about KD's team is everybody on there can get their own shot. Anybody on there can take you off the dribble and they can get their own shot. And then he got some knockdown shooters. You know what I mean? He got some knockdown. He got James. He got look. He really picked his squad, and he got a couple other players and stuff. He got the big man. He got one of the dopest. He got probably the dopest big man in the game in Joel Embiid. I can't see nobody matching up with Joel Embiid. The sad part about it to me is the only bad part about it to me is KD is not going to be able to play. Okay, so let me get this straight. Both of you all think Team Durant is going to be beat over Team LeBron. Y'all both think that Team Durant has got over Giannis and LeBron, Steph Curry, Luka, the Joker. That's y'all think that team is a wash? Like literally, because to me, I look at Team LeBron. I'm like, man, LeBron, Giannis, and Steph Curry on the same team sounds really dangerous to me. I just think I don't think so. I think you're dealing with a bunch of big names, but at a different day and age. I think if we're talking 5-6 years ago, you're absolutely right. But I think in this day and era in time, right now, collectively on the same court, I see more damage being done over here than I do over here. I see he's going to beat him with quickness and efficiency. I'm telling you. Over here, Steph is not. I don't know. I don't see Steph being as efficient. Damn sure don't see LeBron being as. LeBron's going to be LeBron. He's going to facilitate the rock and try to take over that point guard slot. Giannis is not a champ, so he's going to give you a couple of highlights. You know, the best player might be Jokic. Be honest with you on that team. But the Joker is going to eat up Embiid. I don't care what nobody says. The Joker's going to eat. That's what I'm saying. He might be your biggest shining star on that team. Yeah, and that's a sleeper. When you look at those names, most people that's a sleeper. Yeah. What was you gonna say, Fig? No, I was like, who's on KD's team? The starting five? Starting five is Bradley Beal, Joel Embiid, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi, and Jason Tatum. Dude, you talking about all the dudes. All of them can get their own shot. All of them can knock down 3-pointers. Like all of them are extremely efficient 3-point shooters, and they all could get their own shot, including Joel Embiid. And they're all mobile. They're all fast. They're all mobile, hostile, agile. Okay, I like that team. I get all that too. But Bradley, Tatum, Kawhi. Greg, I like that. I agree with you. But all the Team LeBron's teams can get their own shot too. Matter of fact, they can run you over to the basket. With LeBron and Giannis on the same team, and with Luka, I don't know, man. I think got a handle. Joker and Luka and Giannis got a handle. Bro, I think Team LeBron's gonna pull this. This is why I think Kyrie will give Steph the business. Yeah, he will. I think Kyrie gonna give Steph the business. Let's match it up. Can nobody stick KD? You have no match for KD. Mm-hmm. Can nobody stick Kyrie? You're not gonna play, and you got no match for Giannis. I don't think so. I think if we get a tough Joel Embiid, like when he played tough, if he come there to play tough, he could slow him down a little bit. Nah, but Joel Embiid is gonna play the fives. He's gonna be playing against the Joker. So there's that. So that's out there. And you think the Joker is better than Joel Embiid? Yes, I do. He's a much shooter. I dare you to take your hat off and say that. he's a much better shooter. He comes out. He can shoot out. He has way much better amazing footwork. Yeah. If you had to. Yeah. Let me ask you this. Okay, it's a draft right now. There's an NBA draft right now, right? Yep. Knowing what you know now, right? Right. Talent. Would you take the Joker or Joel Embiid right now? I would take the Joker. Okay. Fig, who would you take? Right now, you got the Joker or Joel Embiid. Who would you take right now? I'd take Embiid. You take Embiid? Okay, well, we'll see. Like they say, we'll see what happens on Sunday. Because at the end of the day, if you want to match them up, we can match them up. Bradley Beal is going to probably be sticking with Luka, right? I don't know if Bradley Beal is better than Luka in a certain degree, but Luka can get his own shot too. Yeah, Giannis is going to be going up against Kawhi. Giannis is going to chew up Kawhi. I don't care what nobody says. Luka, Steph Curry is going to be paired up with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving can shoot just like Steph can shoot. Both of them don't play no defense, but Steph is a much better shooter. Right on. Who's guarding James Harden? You crazy as hell, bro. Hey, hold up. We'll see. Hold up. Who's guarding James Harden? Kawhi the hand?
James Harden's not starting. I just
No,
named the starters.
But hold up, the hand. You think he gonna eat him up? That boy played big.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's gonna be fun to watch.
Wow, disrespectful, son.
It's gonna be fun to watch because like listen, I can't wait to see a matchup 5-5 because at the end of the day, I think like you said, I think the key component of this whole thing is going to be the Joker because the Joker, if they play with Giannis and LeBron and the Joker on the floor at the same time, you got that big. They're going to be passing the ball better because LeBron is an amazing passer. The Joker is an amazing passer, and they're going to be passing the ball all the way, cutting to the lane. Meanwhile, Team Durant is going to be settling for jumpers, shooting. So when they
you can pass all you want. When that ball go up, it got to go in to count. Yeah, and that's where they're going to lose at. It's too much efficiency on the other side, bro. It's too much efficiency on the other side. KD is a walking water, a bucket of water. He's a walking bucket of water. Kyrie, walking bucket of water. You know what I mean? These dudes, it don't even matter. You got James playing, and then you got James Harden coming off the bench.
Well,
you know what's dope about everybody on KD's squad? They all shoot over 40% from three. All of them. All.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Kyrie, all of them. They all shoot over 40% from three. All of them.
Like I said, this would be one of the exciting games. I don't like the way they set up the pick, you know what I mean, with all that, the team. I don't like that at all. But this particular team right now, the way it's so heavy on top for both teams. I'm used to the East versus the West, and usually we both know when you go in to see the NBA with All-Star East versus, well, you could know even before you watch the game who's going to win this game if they play. That's a big caveat. If they play, oh, the East is going to win this year. Oh, the West is going to win this year. Yeah.
Hold up, Frank. Let me ask you this: did you actually watch the pick?
No, I did not.
It was icy, B. It was icy.
Meaning what?
LeBron and KD, it was like a little ice on there. I was like, oh. I was like, I was seeing a little something there. I was like, okay, all right. You know, the way they was picking, you can feel your man. Listen,
you can feel the tension.
You can feel the tension, man. It was like there because, in my mind, what I was reading into it, it was like, KD was like, listen, this the All-Star game. We choosing up. He said, but I picked my team and you picked your team, and it was almost like, I see you in the finals, son.
Okay.
I was like, wow.
Okay, we'll see. At the end of the day, we'll see. All right, before I roll into the NFL, I want to say this one thing. Blake Griffin this morning bought out his contract. Blake Griffin could basically land on any team that wants to pay him. Now, I'm going to throw it to you, Talent, and say this. What team that you know is going to be making a playoff run, is he going to call and say, yeah, I want to run with y'all? For the player minimum. Wait a
minute. He bought himself out.
Yeah, because he did a player buyout. He did a buyout, contract buyout.
I love it. Yeah, because I love it. What did I tell you, man? What did I tell you? I loved it. It's nothing like money. It's nothing like money. Hey, we got somebody on the phone. They want to buy a Blake Griffin contract. Who is it? It's Blake. You gotta love it. I think what you're saying is true, Frank. You're gonna watch. You sit back, you watch a little bit, and you see which team you think has got the best run to make, and you join it. And I'm not even mad at him because this is the only exception to the rule when players go somewhere to try their best to win. When you done put the work in, and you done put all those seasons in, you're an all-star. You got over a decade in the game, or whatever the case may be. You at the end part of your 2 or 3 last years. And you say, like what KD did with Boston. It was perfect. Nobody was mad at when KD went to Boston and did his thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Kevin Garnett. When Kevin Garnett went to Boston, we were rooting for him. And then when you added Ray Allen, and these other players that we also rooted for, that's the exception to the rule. I think every great player deserves that. They tried to do it with Karl Malone. You know what I mean? And Gary Payton on that team. But here's Blake Griffin in that moment in time of his twilight of his career, and I like it.
Okay. So
I like it.
You want to add to that?
Yeah, man, I'd love to see Blake Griffin finish his career in a position where they're able to utilize what it is that he does, what he does best. A lot of times, as an NBA player, you get put on these squads and they want you to do something that you're not actually great at. It almost is like you get a player like Kyrie Irving who is dope, and then you ask him to play center. It's like, yo, man, he can't play center. That's not what he does. That's not what he's good at. That's not what he's best at. So now Blake Griffin has the unique opportunity to go to a team that can utilize what he does best. You know what I mean? And he gets to select the coach, the team, and I think it's a great opportunity. If he ends up on the Nets, God have mercy.
If he ends up on the Nets, the Sixers, the Clippers, there's a couple of teams if he lands on, because he'll be coming up off the bench. He would be very powerful to help them, because he's not going to start no matter where he goes. But coming off the bench with the team's second unit, he could really help turn some teams around. I don't think he's the answer to get a championship, though. You know what I mean? I don't think he's the team's answer.
He might be. Listen, he might be.
I don't know if he will.
He might be because Blake Griffin lately he's developed, man. This I'd say 15 to 18 footer, man, where he's just like water with it. He's really formidable.
His points, his time, everything average has been at a career low than it's ever been right now. He's at a career low all across the board. I don't know if he goes to a new team, he's going to be able to turn that around. Because if he could be doing all that, he should have been doing that for Detroit. I don't know. I mean,
but he used the word formidable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but my point is that if you're the focal point, which he is on Detroit, then teams get the scheme for you. If he's on a team like the Nets, you can't scheme for Blake Griffin, because now you got to watch out for James Harden. You got to watch out for Kevin Durant. You got to watch out for Joe Harris. You got to watch out for all these other players. You can't scheme for him. You can't double team him. You can't triple team. You can't spy him. Now he gets to play one-on-one. You're not stopping Blake Griffin.
Bro, as they always say, we will see. We shall.
Whatever
see.
It is, he got to get it done now, and not tomorrow, because he's on the verge of being at the end of his career and retiring. This is how you know when you're about to retire. He was seen on Rodeo Drive shopping for suits with Grant Hill. If you go shopping for suits with Grant Hill, you on your way out of that bitch.
I'll tell you this, though. I don't think he's going to land on Brooklyn because they don't even have a roster spot for him right now. You know what I mean? They're stacked. They don't have a roster spot, and they're not going to cut anybody on that team to add him. You know what I mean? I think he'll go to a team. I hate to say it, but I can see him literally landing on the Lakers because they do have a roster spot with so many injuries and so many rotating players out. I can see him doing it with the Clippers because if he goes, hold on, let me finish. Let me see if he lands on the Clippers too, because the Clippers have roster spot. The Clippers have money to spend. I mean, it really depends on the team or where he goes to, but the Brooklyn Nets is not the team because at the end of the day, they don't have the spot. But go ahead, Fig.
The only thing I'm saying, if he goes to the Lakers, I 100% guarantee, put all kind of money on it, he's just going to be a spot-up shooter. It's the same thing they did to Kevin Love and the same thing they did to Chris Bosh. All he'll be is a spot-up shooter.
Yeah, but that's not the point. I get that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we're not talking about the game he's going to play. We're going to talk about the team and where he's going to land and be able to get a chip. So, I mean, he could be a spot-up shooter. Maybe they might make him slash to the back. It depends. I mean, it really depends. But let's keep this thing moving on because I want to at least get to the NFL because there's a couple of things that happened. This morning, I've read the news this morning that the Cowboys are closing in on a franchise tag, and Dak Prescott might get franchised this afternoon. They're looking at him because the sides are so far off. They're looking like, okay, well, we need to walk away and at least franchise him this afternoon. So the sign and trade thing is going to be off the table the minute they do that. So, talent, when you hear that, I know we talked about Dak to at least I'm getting sick of it because we all know that Dallas should sign him. But to me, I think if they tag him this year, this will be his last year in Dallas. That's my thoughts. I think they signed their death warrant, if you ask me.
Well, it should have been the last year. So, again, there's nobody to blame but Dak's team and his champ, his agency and the guys that handle that. This should have been taken care of. It's going on 3 solid years, man. And it's sad, but I see them doing it. We said this 100 times.
Right.
Jerry Jones, he's that kind of guy. He's always given a problem of paying the African American star players. Like, it's never been a problem. You've never had a article in the paper of a controversial payout to Troy Aikman or Tony Romo or even Danny White if you go back. But you've always had your Zekes, you always had your Dax, your Michael Irvin, your Emmitt Smith. All those guys have made the news about not getting paid. Not surprised, Frank.
Fig, your thoughts?
It's sad because Dak made throughout his entire rookie contract less than $5 million a year, and then on top of that, Jerry asked for another discount as if that wasn't already the discount. Less than $5 million a year, you got your discount, and to do that to franchise him again is it doesn't give him longevity, security, long term, but he's gonna make between $37 and $38 million on that franchise tag, and then he'll be able to go somewhere else on the open market. But this is a testament to the Dallas Cowboys and how they treated Dak Prescott, man. It raised my eyebrows. I was thinking about something, and I want to know, maybe you guys know, do you know of an NFL, a black quarterback that's had a great offensive line where he literally wasn't running for his life most of the time? I can't think of one.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me even say this. Let me move this on too. Here's another thing. This morning, Deshaun Watson's people have released the news saying he's willing to sit out the entire year to prove his point that he's so disgruntled with Houston. That's number one. Number two, on the Deshaun Watson side of things, that Houston has even said, if you're willing, we're willing to even make sure you sit out the entire year too, but we're not trading you. They're at a complete and utter standoff as of this moment. And we all know the draft is right around the corner. It's in a couple of weeks. So people are sitting here saying, what's going to happen in Houston? And Houston is such a horrible place to go. So my question to you, Talon, is do you think Deshaun Watson is going to really sit out an entire year? Do you see that happening?
I don't see it happening. I think we're back to playing poker again. I think they got their poker face on and they're going to see who blinks. Mm-hmm. I think neither one wants that. I don't think they're built to have him sit down. I don't think he's built to sit down. But I think they both need to say that to let each other know how serious they are with their point. Now, it's about sitting back and seeing who blinks. Somebody gonna blink.
Right.
Somebody gonna blink. And it's about to see who blinks. And whoever blinks, the other person obviously is gonna get their way or some sort of concession.
I think the person who's going to blink is the person who's losing money. That's what I think the bird's going to be. Whoever's losing the most money from that, and it could be the team because they're losing money because they're not getting revenue because Deshaun's not playing, or it could be Deshaun because Deshaun is getting taxed every single game he's not playing. Actually, every day he doesn't show up, he's losing money. Fig, what's your thoughts on Deshaun Watson literally saying he's going to sit out the entire year to prove his point?
You say the way you worded it, say to prove his point, but the black athlete has been known to stand on principle throughout the history of sports, and with the Jim Browns, the Muhammad Ali's, a great number of them. Can't name them all right now, but I think Deshaun Watson has enough money where he won't have to worry about struggling. He won't have to worry about keeping a roof over his head or feeding his family. I think that he's principled enough to be like, you know what? I'm not playing for you. I don't care what you do. And it'll look really, really bad on both of the Texas teams, how they treated the black quarterback. There's something up with Texas, Jerry with Dak and Houston with Deshaun Watson. There's something really rough about
They hating the black quarterback. Why? Because the black quarterback go to Cancun all the time. Ted Cruz had to come back from Cancun, fam. We've been partying in Cancun forever.
Yo, I don't know about the Cowboys if there's something going wrong, really wrong in the Cowboys, but the NFL players are talking about there's something really wrong in the Houston, Texas organizations. And the word is out that people don't even want to go to play for the Houston Texans.
No free agents. That's what this is going to scream. It's not really between Houston and Deshaun. It's zero free agents that will ever go to Houston again. You can do what you want to do, Houston. You're going to ruin your own franchise. You'll end up having to sell.
It really depends on how they handle this upcoming situation. I just don't see it going the way the Houston Texans think it's going to go. That's my thought. The other thing is Big Ben. He made some news this morning because he officially signed his contract. He got a $5 million reduction in his contract. Pittsburgh agrees to sign him. Now here's the key caveat that people are not talking about. You know me. You know how I throw things out. The salary cap this year got lowered, right? For just this year alone. Big Ben said, okay, I'm going to do a 1-year contract. Big Ben is hoping, I'm willing to bet, that next year when the salary cap is raised, he can get back to that same number or around that where he was at, because salary cap got lowered this year because of COVID. Next year is going to be raised higher than it's ever been, maybe to 95 million. That's what it was 195, 95, I don't remember. But it's supposed to be raised an additional $15 to $20 million next year. That's what they're thinking. Now, a lot of players are getting ready to get cut. Golden Tate got cut. In the last 7 days, a lot of marquee players have gotten cut, and more will get cut before the draft kicks in. What do you think Big Ben's plans are right now, Talent? Do you think that taking that 1-year contract was a good thing, or do you think he signed his way out of there, out of Pittsburgh?
Big Ben crazy as hell. You just talking about maybe getting rid of him. So I don't know how his eyes are looking bigger to the future after it. Like, even if they stay with Ben 1 more year, I don't see them wasting a lot of that money on Big Ben the year after this year. I think he's pretty much at the end of his rope. Here we are 4 days removed from talking about Drew Brees quitting because of broken ribs. And here come Big Ben still talking about he planning for the year after.
Yeah.
Shit. And Big Ben better go ahead and better go enjoy some cookouts and some barbecues. It's over.
Fig, what you think?
Hey man, I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is, because I had the inside scoop on this. Big Ben is not really concerned. He's made enough money to retire on and to live extremely comfortable for the rest of his life. His children and his grandchildren are going to be rich. That's how much money Big Ben has made already. This $14 million is really all for the Big Ben fans this coming year. It's fat burger for everybody. That's what this $14 million is going to do. It's fat burger for all of us. Fat burger on Ben.
All right, let me ask you all this. To keep the conversation going, we got a few more minutes. Alex Smith got released. You know what I mean? Alex Smith was 5-1 from the Washington football team. He got released. People are saying that he could literally land in Chicago. Chicago should call him. The Raiders should call him. A couple of teams are up there. But right now, the big thing is that Chicago might be the one because of Matt Nagy's up there. I'm thinking, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he landed in Chicago. Rodney Perry's not here to say yay or nay. But the fact that he got released and he's available right now and he's a top-tier quarterback,
right,
is pretty scary to me. So what you think, Talent?
Well, the reason Rodney Perry's not here to say yay or nay, he's in Chicago trying out. Rodney Perry's out there. Rodney Perry's out there trying out for a position they don't have no more, double tailback. I think that's a good landing spot. All jokes aside, Alex Smith in a Chicago uniform, they can use him. Chicago could use a lot of pieces, man. And I like him. I like him in Chicago. I like him in Chicago, Indianapolis. I like to see Alex Smith play in these blue collar spots, if you will. You know, the pretty shiny hats of San Fran's and the Washington. It's not thuggish enough. I think a guy coming back from what he came back from, he showed us he's tough. He needs a blue collar team.
All right, Fig, what's your thoughts?
I'm really afraid for Smith to go to a place that's cold, man. With the severity of the injury that he had, man, it just seems like that's not going to be a good match. Even when a serious injury like that heals, man, you can still have problems when it get cold. Anybody that has any kind of bone or joint or any kind of injury, they'll tell you when it gets cold, it's a whole different story. And there ain't many places in the NFL colder than Chicago. Unless you talk about it, like Chicago and Green Bay is probably the two coldest NFL cities, like hands down. Listen, he better go somewhere warm. They go be a backup for Tom or in Miami somewhere. But in Chicago, Ooh, man.
They used to be the coldest. There's a new team. The new expansion team is going to be the cold. The Antarctica. The Antarctica. the icebergs. When they 2 more years, they're going to be ready for the Antarctica icebergs. Now that's going to be a cold place to play. Santa Claus is the mascot.
Oh God, I can't. Rudolph is the mascot. Rudolph.
Y'all are on the road today. So I guess the thing is that if Alex Smith goes to Chicago, it could be a great place to play. But if Alex Smith goes, let's just say Alex Smith goes to maybe the Carolina Panthers or something like that, or I don't know, some other team that's just missing a quarterback. Like, he literally could turn the franchise around. And I'm scared for him. One fact being that I don't want him to go somewhere and be a backup QB. I just still think he's a starter in this league. You know what I mean?
What about your team, Frank? What if he ends up with with Belichick?
Yeah, possibly. It's possible.
That's a good fit for him. Frank, you mentioned either one, Carolinas, New England. Those are all good fits. Hey, man, it's so many good fits for him. And Fig brought up a good point, though. Coming off when you have major things wrong with you physically, that cold weather will take a toll. You have those things, you know what I mean? So that is true. But if you put him in Carolina,
you never know where you never know. I mean, because I still think he got some gas in his tank left.
He's still a starter. He's a starter.
Yeah. I would like to. Well, the one thing for damn sure, I want to see him on a place that got a great offensive line, because if that leg get hit again, he could be finished, B.
Yeah. Let me ask you all this. Do you think because of COVID this year that happened, and COVID makes sure we didn't evaluate, and the NFL scouts and everything else didn't evaluate a lot of the good QBs coming out? Do you think that there's going to be a diamond in the rough that was overlooked that will still make it to the draft, make it to a team that, everybody's talking about the usual suspects and everything else, but there might be a guy, in my opinion, who didn't get evaluated properly, who might be a star in the league? Because of COVID, people weren't able to go out and evaluate. The NFL scouts weren't able to get so many looks. You know what I mean? They just weren't able to. It just hindered everything. Do you think that a diamond will fall in somebody's lap this year?
Absolutely. That happens every year. Also, Frank, not even just draft-wise, there's some guys, some backups, some bench warmers that haven't got a chance to show what they got either. So I think it's some diamonds in the rough for sure that came up, you didn't get a chance to draft, that's going to make their way. And definitely, I think it's some bench warmers and backups that are those guys of the future, but we have yet to see it because of COVID. We definitely gravitated towards the usual suspects.
Yeah, I agree with that part. Fig, what you think?
No, you guys are definitely right, man, because like Talon alluded to, even during regular seasons, like pre-COVID, there are some diamonds in the rough that got overlooked. I mean, the biggest one we all know was Tom Brady. What did he go in, like the 6th round or something like that? So I mean,
round 199.
Yeah, there's some guys that get overlooked like every year that turn out to be great players. One of my favorite shows is like well, I'm not gonna say what the show is, but Shannon Sharp was a player. I don't even think I think he got drafted in like the 6th round, or there's some guys who don't get drafted at all that make the team. So definitely there's a possibility during the COVID year where you really don't get a chance to look, that some guys just get overlooked. Yo, man, we still got a segment here.
I forgot. It's Friday. Go ahead.
Yo, make it real quick. 5 top dogs of the week.
Craig, you got to go through it fast.
I know. 5 top dogs of the week. I got Jimmy Butler, 33, 10, 8 assists. Miami, Utah, 124, 116. Julius Randle of the New York Knicks, 28 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. New York Knicks over Indiana, 110 to 107. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 36 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists. Bucks over Clippers, 105 to 100. My man, Fear the Beard, James Harden, 30 points, 14 rebounds, 15 assists. Triple-double, played 44 minutes, 0 turnovers. The Nets over San Antonio, 124 to 113. Last but not least, I got my man, Zion Williamson, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. New Orleans Pelicans over the number 1 seeded Utah Jazz, 129-124. which is the #1 team in the NBA. That's my 5 top dogs.
Now, that was excellent. Let me say this. Let me say this about James Harden. You know that's his 8th or 9th triple-double since he's been on the Nets.
Ninth.
And we called them selfish.
Yes. Talent. Tell everybody out there how they can follow you, bro. You Talent, we can't hear you. Talent, we can't hear you.
I'll be on all platforms 6 o'clock today. It's Just Comedy on Twitter, Talent the Comedian on Instagram, and King Talent Harris on Facebook. Boom.
Fig, go ahead.
Boom. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, at Comedian Fig, all social media platforms, Monday through Friday, right here on the box seats, 1 to 2 p.m., the best damn sports show on TV. It's us, y'all.
Hey, y'all. Rodney Perry wasn't able to make the show this week. Next week, we definitely have some guests. I'm going to surprise you all Monday or Tuesday with a big guest. Can't wait to drop that in there. I'm Frank Holder. The show's called The Box Seats. We are on the channel called The Humor Mill. That's Talent. That's Fig. We'll see y'all Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel.